show your kid big old push up.
And I'm Reed Roper. I'm Reed Roper.
Celebration.
Hey, I watched
I walked into a bar and she was right there leaning up against that bar when she was perpetrating.
That's exactly it, sir. Exactly.
What was it that you just said a couple of minutes ago before we started this?
That Mike Knott died.
Yes, Mike Knott died. Here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I met Mike Knott once. So I would not call him a friend. I would not call him an acquaintance. It was just a, hey, how are you? I was introduced to him. And the thing with me is, you know, we always talk about in this show, like the 90s Christian culture and all that. And like, I Kiss Dating Goodbye and all these like crazy things we did. And unfortunately, because I didn't know Mike Knott, all I ever heard about was he was like this. I'm going to give you the two dichotomies, if I'm using that right, or the dichotomy of what in my head Mike Knott was. So I unfortunately grew up thinking like he was this poser in the Christian scene who was like putting out music to the Christian scene, but like also putting stuff out in mainstream. And it was like, is he just trying to squeeze money out of the Christian market?
Gosh.
But
Okay.
then like I grew up and I heard more about him and friends that I knew talked more about him
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And then it came to find out like Mike Knott was the guy who I wanted to be, you know, that was like, who didn't give a crap. Like the Mike Knott was the person who I just explained to my daughter. Cause my daughter, Mia, has expressed lately a passion and desire to write, to write books. And I gave her like this speech that like, I believe like Mike Knott would have given her. And it was just like, you may be a Christian, but write uncensored, write what you feel is right, write what you feel is correct, what, you know, and if it pushes the envelope, if people push back, you do what you feel like God has put on your heart to do. And so that's what I've come to know who Mike Knott was truly a transparent talk about it. You know, here we are as the insiders and we're singing, I will enter his gates with thanksgiving in my heart. I will enter, you know, we're singing these like what I've said a million times on this show that like I'm embarrassed of like the lyrics that we wrote on our first albums. And he's writing about divorce and depression. And you're like, that is legit. So I was like caught up in this whole thing when I was younger where I didn't understand the guy.
Did you ever get into his music?
No, never did.
I feel like, so I got it from Keith, like when LSU and Lifesavers Underground and Lifesavers, his three early bands, Keith was super into them. And then like anything that, you know, he started his own label, Blonde Vinyl. Anything that would come out on Blind Vinyl was super like pushing the envelope, or it was just like avant-garde. Like we played shows in Exhumator. We played with Dietophobia, who was on Blind Vinyl. And I don't know, we were just, Keith was super into it. I was like kind of more into like glam metal than I was into like this avant-garde stuff. And I think where we met in the middle was punk, especially like more like speedcore or hardcore stuff. But then I want to say it was like 93, 92, 93. He came out with Rocket and a Bomb. And it was like life-changing for me. So it's like Mike Knott's, I think his first solo album, but it's just him singing songs about actual people that he sees in his apartment building. And the music is fairly good. Like it's pretty like you're like, this is good music. But the lyrics, I was just like, holy fuck. I didn't swear back then, but I'm telling you now, it is a holy fuck. Like he would just write like I read this interview with him about the song John Barrymore Jr. So he's like taking the elevator up in this apartment he lives in, and Drew Barrymore is standing next to him, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she goes, "My dad lives here." So her dad is John Barrymore Jr., the son of John Barrymore, the guy that played old man Potter in It's a Wonderful Life, like this famous movie actor. But her dad kind of wasn't. He was a child actor, but then wasn't. But then the song is just about conversations he's had where he's like lamenting the death of James Dean and how he taught Steve McQueen how to act and just how he's just weird. And then like stories about him like taking this guy to detox with him and how he gets picked up by some guy in a limo who dresses him up as a clown and beats him up. And you're just like, what is this? Like, I think what you're saying, like being able to write songs about depression or divorce or just the truth. His next album after that is even more so. Like, I don't think lyrically it does it for me as much, but his daughter, Stormy, knocked over his guitar or was messing around with the tuning pegs. So, you know, like guitar players are always like, they nerd out on new tunings. They're like, yeah, if you do this, then you don't have to do this, and you can make this thing up here. You can make it. You make your hand. You know how you make your hand look like a turkey claw? Well, you don't have to do that with this.
Yeah. If you pack the acoustic hole with deli meat and turn everything down 2 frets.
Yeah. So he got it. So he put it out. It was like an earlier Tooth and Nail record. It's called Strip Cycle. But if you listen to the guitar on it, it's just weird. It sounds like it's tuned down like 2 steps or lower. But it's because his daughter messed with the tuning. She was like 2. And then he went to go record it. And he goes, wait a second. I'm going to do this. And he wrote the whole album with his guitar in this weird tuning that his 2-year-old daughter invented. It's so cool. Like, that to me is musical genius. If you listen to it, it sounds funky. It's so weird. It's like almost like listening to like old blues from the 1910s. Like, just like, you know, like when black people, they'd find them and they'd exploit them and make them sing into a coffee can and then they'd murder them or whatever. It sounds like that. Is that what they did? I believe that is how rock and roll was invented.
I don't, but
okay.
you live in your world.
They were like, this looks good. This sounds good. We're going to tell everybody you whistled at that white woman and then you're dead.
I think you're closer to being hitting it on the mark when it's like some white guy's like, oh, that guy sounds really good. I'm going to do that.
That is what happened. So maybe I'm embellishing a little bit, but
maybe.
Anyway, that sounds like that. But like, I think I heard that and then went backwards listening to his stuff. And Keith saw him at Cornerstone the year, I want to say it was like 2 years before we met you guys. So I went the year before we met you guys. And then the year we met you, we played with you all. The year before that is like this famous show where like Mike Knott, they had like one of the encore stages. Mike Knott came out, he poured pork and beans on himself and sang like a giant Costco-sized can. Pretty cool, right? We've all thought about it, but he did it. But then you can see this video of they had to do an encore. And so there's this LSU song called Shaded Pain, and it's so just about sadness and depression. It's so haunting. So he comes out in this clown costume singing it. And I wish to God I was at this show because everybody was like, this is funny. And then they start playing Shaded Pain instead of a beat rock song for their encore.
Instead of upbeats and beatdowns.
Yeah. No, but like everybody was just like, what is happening? And he's wearing this clown costume and didn't know how to take it. So for about a minute, people are just like, is this a joke? Is this real? And he takes off. You can see it was like a mask, a clown mask, and he takes it off and he's just bawling, singing this song. And I don't know, man. Like, I had heard this. I had never seen a video until my friend Brian Gray posted that. And it's like a lot of places on YouTube now. If you do like a Mike Knott search for like Shaded Pain.
I'm going to write it as soon as we're done here.
So it's so touching. And so for me, I learned a lot about being a songwriter, about being a lyricist from Mike, just that it's okay to tell the truth, and it's okay to talk about being sad or to be vulnerable. And in fact, like that is more Christ-like than what I felt like the Newsboys were selling or DC Talk were selling.
1,000%,
like,
yeah. Or
this
the insiders.
This is what it's like being a Christian. Everything is great and you're happy.
Right.
And he was just like,
right.
And his life was just a train wreck, like he would get his own label and then he drank too much, or like like there was drugs and like he'd fall off the wagon and lose his label. And then he got a major label deal with the Aunt Betty's, and you read these articles about the Aunt Betty's, just like how I think they were on Capitol and they were supposed to be the next biggest thing. And he'd get too drunk at the shows and cuss people out, and like they'd actually shut down the shows because he was like, it was too much. And then, so I wrote this like on my Facebook page, just, man, I had a hard time. This was like a week ago, Monday, heard that he passed, and I wanted to write something about just like my experience with Michael Knott. And it was that he was like a musical hero of mine, but I knew that he was volatile, and I knew that if I met him, I would be disappointed. So we played at Soulfest, and just so happened that all of a sudden he was playing down in this parking lot where he was also selling paintings, and his merch he just was playing a set. And I was like afraid to watch it, but kind of trapped. So I watched it and I was like, this is crazy. I don't want to meet him. I don't want, like, I already know that he's volatile and that he's kind of falling apart and all these things I've heard about him. And I don't want that to further color my perception of him. I just want to appreciate his art. But damn it, dude, it was like one of the best shows I've ever seen. It was it was just so raw and so emotional. And it was just him and a guitar singing his songs, and just the things he would say in between just seemed so emotionally raw and prophetic, like just so caring and Christ-like.
How old was he when he passed? Like, how old is that guy?
59.
59. Okay.
So he did that. We saw this this set. Keith was standing with me. Kevin Brennan was standing with me. He pointed that out. But it was super touching. And then I was like trying to get out of there before he saw like, oh, these guys are in this other band. He just came up and shook my hand, and he knew about Five Iron. And I was like dead, man. I was like, I can't do this. I can't talk with this guy. I got to get out of here. But he was so kind, just so nice. And he knew about our band. And I was just like, hey, thanks. And then we broke up, and I don't know, like 10 years ago, we were playing at this festival in Northern California called Joshua Festival. And we played, and I swear to God, I just turned around and he was right there, and he remembered me, and it just talked to me about like everything, just about like our set, how cool it was to be there. And I missed his set there. I heard it was amazing, but like I could tell he was dying. I could tell, like, just as a nurse, that like something was wrong with his liver. He was a little bit jaundiced and he had some fluid imbalance. I was so bummed.
Is that what he passed from? Was like something with his liver?
I don't know. I know that he was on, I don't know if I should talk about this, but I know from a friend that like he was doing dialysis.
Okay.
But he also at that show was the same, like super kind, super awesome. And like just reading all these things from people about him, the people that were close to him, they were like, you would get this guy that was like, he had nothing to hide. Like he was never faking his Christianity. Right. It was like, he was like, yeah, I like have abused all these things. I'm constantly falling short of the glory of God. But he also loved so hard and so much, and he just wanted to share that with people.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And that's like the 180, I think some people, forget that I said that. That's the 180 that I've done.
Yeah.
Is I've gone from like in my Christian walk, like my teenage years, respecting like, hey, that guy's my youth pastor. So what he says is great and all that stuff. And I've done a 180 to like looking at the person who has the hard life that is all these falling short, but yet they still love Jesus. I will listen to those guys any day compared to like everything's rosy in my life, guys, and I'm going to get up on stage and I'm going to preach and I'm going to do all this. And, you know, and you kind of put on that face that like, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I'm a pastor and everything's right in my life. Like my marriage is wonderful. My kids are amazing. We all love each other and our bank account's great. And nothing ever goes wrong. We go home and we all sit around and we watch Seinfeld together, you know, or whatever the case may be. And that's not the life that I have lived.
I don't think that's true. I think it's lying. That's the problem.
I do too. And so now that my kids are getting older, I'm able to have these conversations with them about, you know, about all these things and who we are as Christians and you know, the way I'm kind of branching in a different direction because my mind is thinking of a conversation that I had with my kids earlier in the week. But, you know, but it is. So you get someone like Mike Knott and you're like, that's the person who I want to listen to. That's the person whose music I want to listen to.
Yeah.
Like Michael W. Smith, great, man. He writes some great lyrics. He writes some awesome worshipful stuff. Love it. But it's like I can't connect with that so much other than like on a praise and worship level. When it's like where you like connect is like I said, just someone who stumbles like me.
Not just man. That guy could not lie. Like he had hit the bottom so many times. Like he just knew it. Like there was no more lying about what it's like. Like this is what it's like to fall short of the glory of God. Like all of us are here. We're there. You're just lying to yourself if you're not, you know, like this whole lying about being good or being a good person or getting your shit together. He cut that shit out. Like I'm sure he would have liked to not have been addicted to things or like to have more self-control, but he didn't. And so what he brought to the table was, look, man, God still loves me.
Right. Exactly.
That's amazing.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know, guys. Pour one out for Mike.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen to some of his music. Listen to Grace Shaker by LSU or The Great Prophet, Strip Cycle, Rocket and a Bomb.
Like I remember when we were touring it at festivals, like I remember Aunt Betty's. Aunt Betty's. And when that came out, like I remember seeing the t-shirts and I know what the cover art of that album looked like. And it was just something that, again, like I said, like I never got into because there was always this like, I kind of felt like, and I know this is goofy, but again, we talk openly and honest on this show. And if people laugh at me, they laugh. If people connect and say like, yeah, that was me too. But it's like when you're growing up and like my mom was like, I don't want you guys listening to heavy metal. You know, so it was like when I was growing up, like I couldn't listen to Motley Crue. I couldn't listen to Poison, Metallica, because my mom was like, I don't want that in the house. And it was almost like that mentality where it was like, there's this guy that there's this image around that isn't the image that as an 18-year-old Christian in a ska band, I thought was appropriate.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm not going to get into that stuff. I'm not going to listen to that stuff. Yet at the same time, I'm like listening to Korn and, all this other stuff that was garbage, like Eminem and ICP. But yet Mike Knott, I was like, oh no, I can't listen to that. So it's just so stupid. Like we just do things as kids that are just so stupid.
I think that whole period, I mean, it's still going on, but like definitely there was this satanic panic thing that it just infiltrated all of Christianity where we were coming out of that. Like I think our careers existed because of that, partially because
for sure. Yeah.
Parents were afraid of secular music or afraid of metal or Satanists. And so like definitely Christian ska was the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
It was happy and they were, it was just edgy enough that those kids could be like, what? I'm fighting racism just like they did in England in the 60s and 70s.
Right. Right.
Ska.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so weird. Like, I believe that like, I know this might be a stretch and people are going to be like, oh, come on, Joe, come on. But, you can say the cliche thing that everything happens for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. And the Lord knows what's going to happen and the Lord uses things in mysterious ways. But think of all of us that there's those that went through that 90s Christian thing that walked away from the faith. Like they're like this nonsense and it turned them off. Yes. And then there's others that you went through that to realize, and like I put myself in it, where you went from like youth group Christian guy to like out being like a pep rally for Jesus, but never have ever experienced anything. Right. Like the biggest hardship I had in my life up to age 22 was like, I'm not rich. Like I can't buy what I want when I want. Uh-huh. But like food, shelter, like I hadn't experienced anything. And then at 46, I've been divorced twice. Like I've had financial issues. I've had health issues. I've had all these things. And so what I'm trying to say is like you go through and you're 18, 19 and it's all this stuff. And then you get to that point where you realize that that's just kind of all certain people saw it, that 90s Christian culture and walked away from it. And then I think others went through it for a reason.
Yeah.
Like you went through it for a reason. Like I learned from it. And I think the person that I am today as a fallible, stumbling Christian is better than that 18, 19-year-old who was like, I shall not drink. I shall not, like all the stuff that you proclaim. I'm not going to do this. I won't do this. I won't do this. Like that kid was so much further away from Christ than
Right.
the person whose voice you're hearing now. The person who's on the other end of this camera. Like,
You mean me? I'm very close to the Lord, people.
yeah, exactly. So
I just think like that whole thing, just saying, stay away from this stuff because it's bad and you need to be good. As soon as people found out that stuff wasn't bad, like, oh, I did listen to Master of Puppets and I did not murder anyone or sacrifice any cats. Like, I listened to the lyrics and they're really good. I listen to the music. It's freaking amazing. I'm not burning in hell.
yeah,
Like just those things, like all of that theology that is that we kind of grew up in, where I was like, don't do this because it will corrupt you. I feel that so many people tried it and were like, I'm not corrupted. And then saw maybe that the corruption of the church, that is a lie, like that you're going to be corrupted by that, or that makes you bad and you need to be good,
right.
From churches that are hoarding money, not caring for the homeless, not caring about people, just not loving. I think that has turned off an immense amount of at least Americans, if not just people all over.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We hear you, people.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think, and from talking to like our fans and our friends that are, listen to this podcast and comment on the discussion page, I do think it's what we just said. It's kind of like the fork in the road, and some went one way and some went another. And, your goofiness as a teenager kind of strengthens who you are as an adult.
Yeah.
Like I'm embarrassed. Like, again, said it a billion times on this podcast. Like I'm embarrassed of some lyrics that I wrote. I'm embarrassed of some of the stuff as the insiders. But again, I was 17, 18, 19 years old. And,
sure.
But going through that got me to this person who's here right now, who's absolutely perfect.
Totally.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. You guys want to know how you get to perfection? Start a Christian ska band, tell people what they should be doing with their lives, and then grow up. You know what I mean? It's that simple.
It's that easy.
I mean, I should probably go and speak at high schools.
with your Funko Pops behind you.
Yeah.
Just grow up.
I'll be like, how many people here in a band? I don't see enough hands. Everyone in here should be in a Christian ska band.
What are you doing? Trying to play for a Division II school? Lame.
Loser. Whoever got rich playing basketball? I'll tell you where the money is. The money's in the Christian music scene. Yeah, we'll see where that basketball takes you, loser.
Oh my jeez.
You need to wear this shirt, this Austin Powers ripoff shirt that says Jesus, the Savior that saved me. The God that saved me. You need to wear this. Oh, I thought
catch up with Jesus.
Yeah. I bet you thought this shirt said Pepsi. It doesn't. It says Jesus. And I bet you thought this shirt said Tide. It doesn't. It says Christ. And you need to get it and go to heaven.
Joe, I feel like the calls are lighting up. A lot of superintendents of area schools in Detroit are like, can this guy speak here?
Yeah.
What is his fee?
And then I'll have a merch
Whatever
booth
it is,
that has all those t-shirts.
We'll pay it. You have some testaments there.
Yeah, testaments. and then those magic cards that were the Christian magic cards.
Yeah, is that what Kyle was just cleaning up at?
Yeah, I think it was. I think they were called Revelation or something, or something like that. Revelation cards
Anything that guy touched turned to gold.
turned to meth.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's something.
He is a chemist.
He is
He's
a
done
character.
Chemistry.
He's a character.
Succeeds at revelations.
Yep.
He can play hockey on a skateboard.
Yep. All true. All true.
All the
altruistic. Yeah. So that was a nice little conversation we had there.
Yeah. I mean, if
Um,
you're into that crap.
if you're speaking into that crap,
Yeah.
you never text me back.
Oh,
I text you
shit.
this.
Hold
I text
on,
you
I'll
this
do it.
week about Project Hail Mary.
Oh, yeah. I got it. I
You
was
did? You
driving.
got-
I got your text.
Oh,
I mean, did I get it on audiobook?
yeah.
Not yet.
Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I know we talked about it last week, but I've gotten more into it. I
More.
bought the audiobook for my daughter. I have never, what's the way of putting this? I've never been so entertained by an audiobook than the one for Project Hail Mary.
Really?
I know we have a ton of 5 Iron fans. 97% of our listeners are 5 Iron fans, which means you guys are nerds, which means you guys love space and science and math. This freaking, not only this book, but I'm going to be honest with you. If you've ever believed anything that I've said, and I've ever tried to sell you on anything, please listen to this. If you buy the book, Project Hail Mary, and you just buy the book, you are doing yourself a disservice, because the way the dude who reads the audiobook, he's some famous, they got like the best in the business to do it.
Like
This guy, and I forget the guy's
Todd
name.
Bridges.
Yes. And he is freaking fantastic. And so when you're driving and you're listening to it or whatever you're doing and you're listening to it, it's like you're listening to a movie that you're not watching. It sounds like it's a great movie.
Huh.
And if you read the book, I don't think you can read the sarcasm. There's so much sarcasm, so many like
Okay.
one-liners, all that. The book is freaking fantastic.
Okay.
Freaking fantastic. It's sci-fi. I think the last time, I told somebody, I don't know if it was on this podcast or somebody that I was just telling my everyday life. I was like, I don't think it's sci-fi. I think it's like a good story that takes place in space. So if that makes it sci-fi, then I guess I'm wrong. I was like, but sci-fi to me is like this world, like a Star Wars or a Star Trek or a Dune, where you build this world that's in another universe. To me, that's sci-fi. But this goes sci-fi.
Okay.
In the first few chapters, I didn't think it was. I just thought it was like set in space. It gets so cool. So cool.
Okay.
And it's not what I just said. It's not this whole world that's out there. It's not like a Star Wars universe
You're
or
like,
anything like
I
that.
don't know if nerds are going to like this enough. And then it turns for the
Oh
nerds.
my gosh. This is the coolest book. But again, like I said, it's audiobook. If I was reading the book, I wouldn't be sitting here talking like this. But ladies and gentlemen, if you have Audible and you have enough points or whatever on your Audible app, get this as an audiobook. If you don't, you have 25 extra bucks. Buy the audiobook on like Apple iBooks or whatever like that for the audio. I'm only promoting the audio because again, like I
Not
said,
reading.
I don't. Yeah.
You are the
Dude.
opposite of LeVar Burton.
Yes.
There's
Reese,
no butterfly in the
you
sky.
are going to love this. The science, the math, all this stuff that's in this book is absolutely mind-blowing. It's fantastic.
Okay.
And it's all wrapped in this like serious / funny / sarcastic, like, oh, it's awesome. It is freaking awesome. I love it.
Butterfly in the sky. I don't think
I can
so.
fly twice as high.
Probably not.
That's your
What?
response.
Probably not. Have you heard that? Have you heard that with DMX?
What?
Oh
Is
my
it-
gosh.
Is it that song?
You need to listen to Reading Rainbow. You need to YouTube Reading Rainbow DMX.
Okay.
Well, we got to do it not
Okay.
where it's playing. Like
Okay.
we can't play it on the show
No.
because some people might get offended.
People are very easily offended. Most of our listeners.
Yeah.
They're like, I
But
don't
as
think
soon
I'm
as
gonna
we
use
hit
the potty
stop on
words.
this, as soon as we hit stop on this, you got to pull it up on your phone, and
Yes,
I
sir.
want to listen to it. Like I want to watch you while you listen to it.
Okay. Is that a hint? It's time to
I think that is, ladies and
put the
gentlemen,
kids to bed.
tickety tockety. Go listen to Project Hail Mary. Listen to it as you go to bed, and then rewind it to the last part that you thought of the next day. And listen to it on your way to work. All right, we'll see you. Bye.
Piece of pizza. Bye.